For more than 2 years it has slumbered. 2 years we have waited to reinvent the comic book genre from taking it from just action movies to horror. And after years of delay, it has finally come. So what is this film that is New Mutants? Well, I don't know, and neither does the film apparently. You tell me. New Mutants stars Anna Taylor-Joy, Macy Williams, Charlie Heaton, and Blue Hunt, and Henry Zega. I wasn't gonna remember all those names. And like I said, this movie was meant to come out like 2 years ago. Things kept happening which pushed it back more and more and more. It was meant to come out in 2018, but then they realized, hey, Deadpool 2's come out in 2018. We don't want our movies to compete. So they pushed it to 2019, February of 2019, in fact. But then they realized, oh, we can't have it come out then. That's when our money-making machine, Dark Phoenix, was gonna come out. You know, we can't put it then, you know? I mean, we don't wanna, you know, take away from that big Dark Phoenix money coming in. So then they pushed it to August, and then it got delayed again and pushed to 2020. I don't need to tell you what happened in 2020. But finally it's now here. It is now released. We finally get this movie that's been 2 years in the making. Literally no one thought they were ever going to see this movie. They thought it was going to stay on the shelf in the Disney vault for the rest of its days. But the mouse realized they wanted to make some change off of this, so they released it. And now finally having a chance to watch it, I have to say, it's a film. And I'm sorry if during this review it doesn't seem like I'm saying much. It's mainly because there's not really much to talk about this film, which is really its biggest sin. If I had to boil it down, is that it's just uninteresting. Like, you give me the worst movie out there, I can give you troves of things to talk about it probably. I can break down all the different Transformers movies and talk about how bad they are, but at least be something to talk about. But here, things happen. There are characters. They have lines. But that's about it. But what about the horror element of this movie? You know, the whole horror thing of this being mutants and somehow their powers being involved in making this whole nightmarish situation. Well, the horror element of the movie is barely there. And when it is, it's not scary. It's just CG. Like, each one of these characters, they have like a dark past to them or something. Something tragic happened to them when their powers activated for the first time and stuff. So this whole nightmare situation kind of gets fueled by that, but how it's represented, it's not horrifying. You're not biting your nails, gripping the edge of your seat. You're just sitting there like, okay, I guess that's scary. And then there's some times when the movie seems like it wants to be like a teen kind of come of age story at times, little pockets. You see them goofing off, you see them being rude and mean to each other. You see them, you know, giving one over the adults and doing what they want. But then there's times where it seems like it's trying to be a superhero movie, even having kind of like a superhero theme at times. Which those moments, they're cool, but they're not really cool because the moments are earned. It's just because compared to everything else, it's the most entertaining part, because the rest of this movie is boring. And that's mainly because the characters are boring. You are not invested in them. They're just there, just so there is a movie. I don't give a single crap about if any of them lives or dies. And they all have one-note personalities, really. You have the country redneck one. You got the timid Irish one. That wasn't an Irish accent. I don't know. What am I doing? You have the cool jock one, and then you have the Russian one, you know, who's just very rude and kind of racist for some reason. And then you kind of have the main character who is kind of nice too, but she's just there pretty much so plot can happen. But that's all it is to their characters. There's nothing deep, nothing really for you to grasp onto. They're just there for there to be a movie. And even their powers, I mean, their powers are kind of cool, but some of them are really confusing. Like the blonde Russian one I was talking about, like, they really don't define what her power set is. Like, she can create a sword and teleport, I guess, which also kind of makes things kind of complicated, because one of the whole things is they're trapped on this facility. There's a force field around it, but they seem to fail to address the, you know, gaping hole of her being able to just teleport to the other side of the force field. Granted, you can just assume, well, maybe this force field has properties that blocks her powers. But even if you give it that, there's times where like she gets locked into a room, like this isolation cell or something, and she doesn't want to be there, but they never tell you why she stays there. She could just teleport out. But they never say there's power dampening things in there. There's obviously not, because you see them use powers in there at one point. And even the jock guy, he has like fire powers. And okay, if it was just that, it'd be fine. I would understand. But at some point, it seems like he has some vague super strength and durability as well. Like there's a point in which he is crushed like any normal person, dead. But he gets crushed, and then the next time you see him, he just gets up and he's like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm not even bleeding. Anybody got some clothes? So it's kind of hard to define the limitations of some of these characters. And even when the story trying to give you some twists and turns about, ooh, the nefarious reasons of this hospital, which this doctor's keeping them, is reasons that either you find out fast, or when it's revealed to you, you just kind of go, oh. Which the reveal they give you makes you realize that it was really made to come out at the time that they originally said. They even use footage from other X-Men movies. I'm not gonna say which movie, but when you see it, if you remember it, you know it. But the footage they use, still, when I compare it to that movie they took it from, doesn't make sense because the settings don't make sense. That's as far as I want to go in case you haven't seen that movie. It's Logan. They took it from Logan. You're not gonna see this movie. And then when you get to the end and they have the big superhero throwdown, again, not really knowing what tone is going for. Things happen, it's entertaining, but at the same time you're questioning how things are happening because they never established that thing can happen. And then the movie just ends and you leave wondering, this is what I was waiting for 2 years for? So I guess I had a lot more to talk about this movie than I thought it was. But yeah, that was New Mutants. I wouldn't recommend you going out to see it to pay money. I mean, if you're watching like TNT or FX or something one day and New Mutants is on, you'll probably be sorta, kinda, maybe entertained. But as far as the theatrical release, it's just a blah movie with really no point in existence. It's the last final breath of the Fox X-Men universe. And now we can move on, hoping Marvel can take this franchise and do their magic. But that's all I had to say about this, guys. Let me know what you thought of New Mutants if you went to go see it. Why'd you go see it? Like and subscribe, share with your friends. Until next time, take care.